The latest Nintendo Direct shocked us with tons of new Pokemon information for the DLC, but there's a bunch of things you probably missed. So let's dive in and take a look. Let's not waste any time. We've got this big mountain here, which they showed in one of the intro sequences. This may be some sort of new Pokemon. It may be kind of reminiscent of a new Pokemon, or it may have something to do with Ogerpon and kind of what it looks like under the mask. So definitely keep an eye out for this because this is going to be a pretty important location. We're going to talk about the Pokemon that are all returning, but I'll go through them one by one as we saw them. Fletchling appeared on a sign. Then we saw Squovet, Sentret, Hoot, Yanma, Gligar. Those are Scarlet version exclusives. Corphish and Vulpix all returning through various things. We've got this green flag here in about 53 seconds, which seems to have some sort of a Pokemon on it. It's a little unclear as to what that is. One of the nice touches that I like that they added was that Pokemon centers are kiosks instead of gas stations. So we have this whole travel theme in Scarlet and Violet as you're kind of running around on Koraidon and Miraidon. But as you go to the new section, the new town, Masui Town in Kitakami, they obviously changed things up. This is going to be the base of your operations for that part of the Teal Mask DLC. You're going to be on this school trip, and it's obviously they changed some of the vibes because you are going to this place, and it's almost like an entirely new region, which I'll get to in a little bit here. We talked about Vulpix and then Oricorio, Apom returning. Apom being a version exclusive, it seems. Then we've got a traditional looking cave here, and Munchlax actually returning, being on a sign. So we've got some confirmation of Munchlax. We end up seeing Snorlax later in the trailer. Poochyena making its return. I love the texture on it. The fur looks really clean on this one. I think they've done a really good job with the textures in terms of the actual Pokemon themselves. I know that there was a lot of people frustrated that they announced these DLCs and we still don't really have proper performance patches for the game, but nonetheless, you know, the texture at least looks really cool. There's another shot later where Milotic actually looks really dope. What seems to be using Scald, the scales on it look really neat. Regular Wooper in Kitakami, again, kind of making it seem like it's its own region, right? Because we have Paldean Wooper in the main part of Paldea, but then you randomly can just have regular Wooper just chilling out in this new section in the swampland. Super stoked to see the boy Yanma coming back, though. I'm a big Yanma guy. I think Terra Yanmega has a chance to be a menace if we're just being real. We've got some festival hats. Today's the first day of the Festival of Masks over in Kitakami Hall, so you're going to be doing the Festival of Masks. And then there's actually a statue of Hisuian Growlithe located behind the player. So that's very interesting because we're talking about very different time periods here, right? With Legends Arceus and Hisuian Arcanine, and then seeing Hisuian Growlithe here in the DLC. I'm curious how that's going to tie into the story and why you have this statue of this particular Pokemon located there. From there, we see that these various lamps, which look really cool, have various typings of Pokemon, but they've got these like devilly like horns on them. So we'll have to see what that ends up kind of pointing towards. But a lot of representation of the types throughout this, right? We've got different emblems all over the place on these lamps showing the different elemental types and the different Terra typings and things like that. And a lot of the rumors right now are speculating that instead of Terra hats, we're gonna end up getting Terra masks, and it's all gonna tie to Ogerpon when we go to the Teal Mask DLC. So very curious how that's all gonna play out with the typings and the masks and how different Pokemon are gonna be able to change their typings in battle, whether it's through a new mechanic or kind of an updated mechanic with these masks, or if they're just gonna enhance on the Terra aspect, the terrestrialization aspect. Chimecho, and I mentioned Snorlax returning there. And then you've got the three different guardians that protected the land from the evil ogre Ogerpon. So the loyal three are the Pokemon that once protected this land. We know Ogerpon is gonna be the evil bro. And then you've got the three particular Pokemon that don't look like they're protecting a whole lot. So it makes me wonder if there's another form that we don't know about. The villagers in the town actually call these three the Loyal Three, and there's a park a short walk from the town called Loyalty Plaza, and you can see the statues of Okidogi, Munkidori, and Pheasantipity, which I'll get to in a little bit about their typings, and a little bit of insight into what those Pokemon are going to be doing in the DLC. But it seems as though these three are basically the saviors against the Teal Mask Pokemon Ogerpon. It was later revealed after the trailer that all three of these Pokemon, Munkidori, Pheasantipity, Okidogi, they all have an ability called Toxic Chain, and it's kind of reminiscent of the little kind of chain on them, the poison chain, which leads us to believe that they're probably going to all be poison types, which I don't think most of us were expecting, kind of a curveball. But Toxic Chain is their ability. When one of these three Pokemon hits an opponent with a move, the power of the Toxic Chain all three Pokemon have may cause the opponent to become badly poisoned. Not regular poisoned, toxic poison. So it seems as though it's like a buffed up poison touch That's what it's looking like. So we'll have to wait and see on that. I will say that Riddler Koo made a post and said, would you like me to talk about the other 3 types, or the types of the Pokemon, the secondary types? So that's kind of hinting that it's likely that they're all poison type, and then they're gonna have a secondary type. Pheasantipity, you may obviously guess flying. That feels really good. There could be grass or fighting or something like that. It'll remain to be seen, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye on Riddler Koo's posts just to see if there's gonna be any sort of updates there on leaks in terms of the typings. He did actually leak the Detective Pikachu early. He did kind of hint at some of this stuff coming, so it seems like his connections are still very fluid, and he's definitely got that inside at the Pokemon Company or wherever he's getting his inside information from. From there, we've got Cyrano, the director of the Blueberry Academy, saying he heard rumors about you and your adventures. He visits Paldea to invite you to his institution as an exchange student. It seems like he's a longtime acquaintance of Director Clavel. Something to note there. Execute bouncing beyond in kind of the background there. The board seems to have different battle brackets on it. And then, of course, we met Lacey, the second-year student, who's apparently not a terrible battler, so she's definitely nothing to scoff at. Minchino returns to the game. We've got the classroom. They're actually studying Geodude on the board. Kind of interesting there. And then, of course, the big one was the terrarium, right? The sea park beneath the sea. This giant terrarium, which features a host of different biomes. Seems like there was ice and mountains and like a deserty type of vibe. And then you've got this ocean. It was split into 4. And I thought this was very interesting because there's some comments from Soul Silver, and I'll touch on those shortly, but I thought it was really, really spot on. Some really cool lore stuff here. The Blueberry Academy is where you're gonna go to study abroad. Indigo Disc, that's where the terrarium is gonna be. It's got those different ecosystems, and it's obviously underneath, and you're gonna seemingly be able to battle and find different Pokemon. It features a unique climate and ecosystem. The artificial sky projected onto the ceilings and walls changes to reflect the time of day. The temperature of each area is carefully regulated. I feel like this is actually really cool, and it's a way for you to get access to different Pokemon all in one area. It'll be interesting to see. I obviously, I think it's a unique concept for them. It did remind me a lot of Sun and Moon, and kind of I can't remember of it, but where, you know, the evil team was located. So we see Blitzel, Zebstrika, Golett, Golurk, Alolan Executor, Seal, Dugong, Pyroar, Whimsicott, Metagross, Milotic, Reuniclus all returning. Alchemy and Flygon getting showcased with their Terras, which is really cool. So love seeing that Flygon with the Terra mask. And then Meowstic, Shiftry, Vikavolt lines also returning via the Pokemon website. And then if you guys didn't hear, the Terra raids right now for Gimmighoul are like really bugged out. So the chance of a shiny are like 1 in 4,000 for 5-star raids. It's like ridiculous. And the rewards are all bugged out. So, you know, you might want to hold off a little bit before you put a ton of time into those. But just real quick, Cerebi.net has a nice resource for us for the Teal Mask. Vulpix, Ninetales, Munchlax, Snorlax, Sentret, Furret, Hoothoot, Noctowl, Apom, Ambipom, Yanma, Yanmega, Gligar, Gliscor, Poochyena, Mightyena, Seedot, Nuzleaf, Shiftry, Corphish, Crawdaunt, Chingling, Chimecho, Feebas, Milotic, Grubbin, Charjabug, and Vikavolt all making their return in Teal Mask, the first of the DLCs. And then for the Indigo Disc, it's Seal, Dugong, Execute, Executor, Trapinch by Bob Rope, Flygon, Feebas, Milotic, Beldum's line into Metagross, Blitzel's Zebstrika, Whimsicott's line, Chinchino's line, Reuniclus, Meowstic, and Alchemy. That's going to be your rundown there. But I did just want to touch on what Soul Silver mentioned. They're actually on vacation, but they were talking about a tale of Arashima Taro. The Dragon Palace under the sea is essentially themed to be split into 4 seasons. They actually talked about this previously, saying that the Indigo Disc is almost certainly based on the Japanese fairy tale Urashima Taro. The turtle that's depicted is like Terapagos, and it takes the protagonist to the palace of the Dragon Sea God, which is deep under the sea. There's so many connections to Scarlet and Violet. That was a post from February, and then of course it gets brought back up, saying that there's 4 different biomes. Could be representative of the 4 treasure ruins or the 4 seasons, but nonetheless, the number 4 is very recurring in Generation 9, so we'll have to see what the deal is there between the tale of Arashima Taro and Area Zero and what that all kind of plays out into, but it's very clear that they took a lot of inspiration from that in developing kind of what they're doing with the, you know, the 2 different DLCs, specifically the Indigo Disc with this one. Phew, that was a lot of things to cover in this one. If you guys felt I missed anything big, let me know in the comments section below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll keep you guys posted on the Pokemon news as it drops. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.